Welcome to the VC3 News Update. I am Jeanette Hackshaw with the top local news stories for today. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Bureau of Standards is collaborating with the CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards and Quality to establish a National Quality Awards program. An official launch was held last evening at the Levy Hotel and forms part of the Technical Barriers of Trade component of the 11th European Development Fund Economic Partnership Agreement program. According to the Executive Director of the SVG Bureau of Standards, Ezra Ledger, the aim of the program is to provide support to CARIFORUM states in furthering the implementation of the Economic Partnership Agreement and reaping its benefits.
The Bureau of Standards is preparing to promote and enhance the national quality and standard agenda in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And of course, our mantra for the period 2022 to the period 2024 is championing of the national quality infrastructure in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. By this we mean that we're going to lead, advocate, support, and execute the national quality infrastructure on the pillars of standards, quality assurance, and metrology. And I always mention that the acronym is SQAM, S-Q-A-M. Grammatically incorrect because not normally a Q is followed by a U. But, and I normally give the why we have to use the word SQAM. The pillars of the infrastructure for quality are standards, conformity assessment, and metrology. Now, if I had to use the acronym for that, it will be what? S-C-A-M, SCAM. And this is not what we're here for. So we basically have to ensure that there's a quality parameter, in this.
Dr. Jean Saville Cummins, chairperson of the National Standards Council, said the launch of the program is a remarkable initiative that the Bureau believes will shine a spotlight on excellence in our local industries. He said it is hoped that it will drive quality production in SVG, and it is also aimed at transforming the industries.
As we launch this program today, I encourage all stakeholders from businesses to different government agencies, we have a few of them here today, to embrace this initiative wholeheartedly. Let us work together to create a future where excellence and compliance are the cornerstones of our nation's economic success. I believe that together we can build a stronger, more prosperous, and internationally respected nation in this regard. So thank you, and let the journey to excellence begin.
Terry Richardson, Project Officer for the CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards and Quality, said his organization has been looking forward to the launch of the program in this country for quite some time. He said after a successful launch and hosting of such a program in Guyana in 2016, several other regional countries expressed interest in having one of their own, and his organization gladly assisted.
And thus, when the 11th European Union funded European Development Fund Economic Partnership Agreement program came around, the establishment of 4 new programs in our region was among the initiatives under the Technical Barriers to Trade component in late 2019. As one of the implementing agencies, CrossCux threw out an offer to the member states, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines was one such interested country.
Mr. Richardson noted that the eruption of the La Sofia volcano and the COVID-19 pandemic halted some of these early plans. He had high praises for the Bureau's Director, Ezra Ledger, and Mrs. Jennifer Douglas Bullock for being committed to establishing the program despite the setbacks.
With support from the Guyana National Bureau of Standards, we were able to facilitate training of volunteers who will participate as part of the national evaluation team to ensure fairness, impartiality, and transparency in this process. We are proud to see the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Bureau of Standards come this far, and we look forward to celebrating a successful inaugural ceremony before we bring the implementation of this entire EDF program to a close in May 2024.
The Bureau of Standards is urging the public and private sector and other stakeholders and consumers, and even the media, to collaborate with them to ensure the establishment of a national quality infrastructure and its successful operations. The Yellow Pan movement said one of the highlights of this weekend's Pan event dubbed In the Streets to be held in the Mariaco Valley will be the tributes to a number of entertainers who hail from the valley. This was revealed by President of the Yulepan Movement, Mr. Rodney Small, during an interview with the National Broadcasting Corporation News. Mr. Small said these entertainers, who include Razam, Scorpion, Fire Empress, Hans, Fimba, Princess Monique, Pateni Bra, and Icon, have all played an integral role in the development of the nation's entertainment industry. Mr. Small said Sunday's event, which takes place at the Glenside Recreational Center, commencing at 3 p.m., is part of their trust to take steel pan music to members of the public. He said it will cater to the family and is therefore encouraging everyone out to the event dubbed In the Streets this Sunday. In more local news stories, speaking at the media launch of the Everything VC Expo that will be taking place at the E.T. Joshua Tarmac in Annisvale, this country's Minister of Economic Planning, Finance and Information Technology, Camille Gonsalves, said that it was agreed upon at a recent meeting he attended for Ministers of Finance for CELAC and the European Union that an investment gateway was inaugurated. According to Gonsalves, the purpose of the gateway is to funnel investment from Europe to countries in the Caribbean.
I just came back from meeting in Spain with the countries of CELAC, which is the Community of Latin America and Caribbean States, and the European Union. And when Prime Minister Gonsalves had a meeting with the European Union as President of CELAC in July, we inaugurated something called the Investment Gateway between Europe and Latin America and the Caribbean, and specifically an investment gateway between Europe and the Caribbean. And the purpose of that gateway is to funnel investment from Europe into the islands of the Caribbean, into the countries of the Caribbean, in areas that are beneficial to us and profitable to the investors. And we've made a lot of strong work in streamlining the investment process, making it easier, and developing packages and projects that are, we believe, attractive to the European investor. Because in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we recognize the transformative power of investment in the lives of Vincentians and in the development of the country.
The finance minister went on to say that there is evidence of investment taking place in the country. He said while there are a number of investments, the investment made by Sandals is in the millions.
There are others, but let's stop at Sandals for a minute and see how it connects here. They're going to open in February, March next year. They're anticipating that in year one, they're going to have 1,200 guests a week. 1,200 guests a week by 52 weeks is 62,000 people who will be in St. Vincent and the Grenadines who were not in St. Vincent and the Grenadines before. That is more than half of our population. That is what you call a market. And while we talk about the importance of the Argyle International Airport for moving your products out, it's also important for moving potential consumers in. And each one of those 62,000 people are going to be buying things and eating things and going places and enjoying services. And that's a market.
He also made mention of the investment that will be made by the Marriott Hotel in 2025. The state-owned 250-room hotel that will be constructed at Mount Wayne on the island's western coast will be managed by Marriott International under a contract signed by the SVG government in September 2019.
When the Marriott comes on stream in 2025, when it opens in 2025, they're projecting first year of about 40,000 people. That's 100,000 people in 2 hotels. That is the population of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So in those 2 hotels alone, you will have double the number of people in your country to consume your goods and services. That is an amazing expansion of the number of bodies, the number of wallets, the number of credit cards that will be in country to enjoy and experience what the business people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines have to offer.
Minister Gonsalves said these types of investments will continue for the country, as there are a number of hotels and tourism enterprises that will invest in SVG. He said the question is whether or not we will take advantage of the new opportunities. Meanwhile, the Honorary Consul of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Mr. Nigel Russell, speaking at the launch, said the participation of Guyana in this year's expo has been long in the planning. He said that Guyana is the breadbasket of the Caribbean and consumes 50% of what it produces. He said that if this country can do the same, to think of what will happen to the economy.
But I want to say this to you, Guyana is still the breadbasket of the Caribbean. Guyana exports to every single country in Latin America and the Caribbean. And you might not know this. Guyana consumes 50% of what it produces. 50% it produces. Now, St. Vincent with 110,000 people. I'm sitting down with Guyana with close to 1 million people. Can consume 50% of what you produce. If St. Vincent can do that, think of what our economy is likely to be.
He went on to note that the preparations for an expo of this nature is extremely tedious, having revealed that he spent 5 weeks in Guyana, during which he attended an expo in that country. He said this spurred his decision to contact and Invest SVG to have Guyanese products displayed at the Everything Vinci Expo. Mr. Russell also noted that he not only sees the expo as products coming to the country, but that some of these businesses can be set up in SVG. He made special mention of the peanut butter and bamboo furniture industry in Guyana.
I see this not only as products coming to St. Vincent. I do believe, based upon what I've seen of our industries in Guyana, we can see those businesses setting up here in St. Vincent. I believe that. Peanut butter from an indigenous place in Guyana, Region 1, is being done in Guyana. I would like to see that industry set up in St. Vincent. There's a young man, the name of Mr. Allen, that I met there at this uncapped market. He's doing bamboo furniture, beds out of bamboo, tables, chairs, space savers, vanity sets out of bamboo. His interest is setting up that industry in St. Vincent, and I hope that that can be embraced.
And finally, on the local scene for today, on Tuesday, September 26, the first 21 homes that were built at Orange Hill as part of the volcano recovery program will be distributed. These homes were built thanks to a grant from the Mustique Charitable Trust. The handing over ceremony will be hosted by the Ministry of National Mobilization, Social Development, Family, Gender Affairs, Youth, Housing and Informal Human Settlements at the site of the new homes at Orange Hill. Orlando Brewster, the Minister of Housing and Informal Settlements, Montgomery Daniel, Member of Parliament for North Windward, and Mr. Roger Pitchard, Chairman of the Mustique Charitable Trust, will also speak during the occasion. Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, will deliver the keynote address. That's our local news. Continue watching the VC3 News Update on Channel 114 for regional and international news.